Lovely to see you all here today.
Lovely to see you too.
There's an echo in here, but I like the sound of it. I don't know how it happened, but I found myself being described as the Bard of Broadstairs a year or so ago, and since then it's been my privilege to be the official poet for the Blues Festival, which is in February. And Julian very kindly asked me to have a residency, which I guess puts me in mind of Elvis in Vegas, or just me in my bedroom, really. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a selection of poems that I have scientifically judged to catch the mood of these few days. So without any more ado, here we go. Actually, you heard of John Cooper Clarke? Yeah. Right. Now, John Cooper Clarke is mates with a guy called Martin Newell, and they were having dinner the other night, and they were talking about what makes a good poet. And they say you read a lot of poetry, but if you get really good, you learn how to parody your favourite poets. So with that in mind, this is my kind of love song to John Cooper Clarke. Will you let me be your Johnny Clark? I want to be the dog that barks. We'll be the voices in the dark, watching box sets off Poldark. Will you let me be your school caretaker, your Saturday night defibrillator? With you I'll be the masticator. Could you be my blotting paper? Will you be forever home and call not text? It's called a phone. Expect to give the dog a bone. On your coffee I'll be the foam. Will you react favourably, put the baton in boulangerie, read my poems out in threes, foreplay horizontally? Will you love me like a horse? I've got the house brand special sauce. Eat kimchi till... Oh, look at cheap cables. Shall I do that one again? Yeah, I love that. No. I'll do that verse again.
Yes.
Will you react favourably, put the baton in boulangerie, read my poems out in threes, foreplay horizontally? Will you love me like a horse? I've got the house brand special sauce. Eat kimchi till my voice is hoarse. Our loving will be coarse, of course. Will you be my final date? I am implying mortal mate. Don't delay, don't hesitate. Might not be bad, might not be great. This is a cheap shit bloody cable we've got here. Will you listen to me moan on me she shat, that bird has flown? I want to pack my dripping phone in your sack of sushi rice. Against all odds. Are there any enthusiastic cyclists here? Really? I mean the type that wear lycra. Right, well, this is, this is for you. This is called Lunchbox. A peloton of cyclists or bikes and extra chains and special pants with seats built in filled up the high-speed train. They'd hurtled down from London, sharp stop before the sea, and now we're going home again with curry sauce for tea. Despite their cleats and studs and socks, that ride at times was hell. Now for relief it's Bee Gees songs and gargling San Miguel. The bants were chips and Strava, camaraderie of men. Eased into lycra, little caps, it's dress-up time again. Anybody remember the Thanet Beer Festival? Rest its soul. Well, up until last year there used to be this annual, the only way to describe it is an orgy of hops, where up to 2,000 people packed themselves into Margate Winter Garden with the apparent express purpose of becoming paralytic. And it was a fascinating thing to watch because you learnt there was a certain subset of humanity who thought that the more they drink, the more attractive they became. Or as we call them, men. So this is about a chap I watched. I was fascinated by this man as he went on his own personal journey of discovery. He's knocking back another pint he doesn't want, an awful sight. He thinks that he will last the night, he won't. That's what his friends know. Now his jokes are getting louder, hopes his friends have got some powder. Really couldn't be more prouder as his bladder starts to blow. The room's now moving round him. 2 more pints follow, down his chin. The lights inside him are getting dim. He won't be going yet though. Oh, just one more, I'll get these all. Hey mate, no go on, here's a score, anything but get crisps. He drops his glass, falls on his arse, can't find his bus pass, I'm going home. Then in his chair, kebab in hair, he didn't pull, was just a dare, I didn't fancy her, no. At 3 a.m, like other men who think that when they're drunk they let the pain go. Remembers shouts, the knockabouts, and guts in doubt. He hates to get this low. he's reaching for the rum. Now, I come from North East Essex, which is almost Suffolk for genetic reasons, and it has an accent, which is kind of a bit sort of generic country, which is my excuse for not being able to remember how I spoke as a child. Martin Newell wrote a poem which this is an affectionate homage to. It's called Found Him Dead with an Acrobat. Twisted round her little finger, half a clown and part-time singer, high wire act, bit of a minger, ex-stunt double for Corporal Klinger. Found him dead with an acrobat, diclofenac spread round flat, duvet bunch round plates of meat, fish for dinner, special treat. This is what the papers spat. Found him dead with an acrobat. Hoping for a decent send-off, garage flowers, hacking cough, skin on fire, heart of ice. Try the rhubarb, really nice. Elephant ears, dactari's trunk, gluten-free, still got him drunk. No one knew but no one asked, thought that he'd been played for laughs. Tried his best and failed at that. Ready reckoned, scored as twat. Didn't mean to hurt the cat. Found him dead with an acrobat. Found him dead with an acrobat. Went in first but last a bat. The dirty, rotten, stinking rat. Found him dead with an acrobat. Yeah, a lot of people ask about the etiquette of clapping. And I always say, yeah, fill your boots. And if you don't want to, I will have a terribly, terribly sad night. Anybody familiar with or fond of the works of Pam Ayres?
Yay!
Right. So, I'm a big fan.
I wish I were a pop star.
Really well. Now, don't get carried away. So this was inspired by the work of Pam Ayres because I was where was I? I was driving somewhere. Well, it wasn't Kent, and this wild animal crossed in front of us, and Helen, who I was with, said, "Was that a stoat?" And I thought, "Ooh, what would Pam say?" "Oh my word!" I said out loud when I was driving home. "Is that a stoat I saw ahead, standing in the road? I rather hope it wasn't, as I think I mowed it down. Might have been a fox, I suppose, not in that part of town. Can't be helped, I'll clean the tyres, there's not much else to do, as Mr. Stoat or Mrs. Stoat won't ever make the news. I expect that you are thinking now this is not one of her wittiest poems. There's no obvious gag or punchline coming, and you think I'd best be going. I wasn't being sweet and rustic enough, coming over cynical, blasé. There's more to life than my teeth and old man, but that stuff, it doesn't much pay. But here's to all the trivia that life is mostly made of when you don't look out for the big stuff in life, like justice, peace, and kindness, or in my case, a stoat." It's obvious to him and me, it's famous that you want to be. No great shakes artistically, just pointed at by strangers. Of talent, merit, worthy life, your virtue is not born of strife, just piggybacked your current wife, a stolen dog in manger. And in the end you'll get your day and passers-by will point and, "Hey, he used to be someone," they'll say, but remembered, there's no danger. With a bit of luck, you'll see an act later on today and go, "Oh yeah, I think we wrote it about him." I don't do competitions or send off to, "We'll publish your shite if you send us a tenner books." I don't do them. I don't think they should exist. If I was made emperor or deity, I'd have them all outlawed. However, my brother, bless him, pointed out to me that our hometown, Colchester, its zoo was having an anniversary, and they invited people with memories of the zoo to send in a poem, and I couldn't resist. I want to make it absolutely clear that I was robbed. This is called Childish Poem, incorporating What's That? I've been beaten by a 6-year-old. I don't mean beaten up, but to the prize of zoo poet for Colchester's winning cup. I don't know why, it didn't even rhyme, you see, or mention any animals, and worse was rather twee. For the record, here's my angle, trigger warning, animal sex. I'll soon forget the zoo debacle and will stop being vexed. Come to Colchester Zoo, you won't believe what you'll see. Never before, well perhaps one or two, here's a clue, it begins with a Z. I think you mean Z. It's a zebra that's bred with a donkey. No way. Roll up to the plains, your life won't be the same, your eyes go badonk, it's a real life Z-donk. Is it the front or the back that's a zebra? The top or the bottom the donkey? Or is it all mixed up in between and the Z-donk's a donkey that's wonky? True story, true story. Not a lot happened in North East Essex in the early 70s, I can assure you. Anybody here from the Midlands? Oh, good. Because this one works best in a mangled Brummie accent, so here we go. Arriving by coach from the Midlands, they're excited, no nervous, well anxious, and the glue that looks at their hands is the hope she's a little less thankless. They will tell her of their lovely journey, except for that man who was sick, and ask if they have real chips here, do they cut them right proper and thick. Leatherette case that they bought online, Cooper's catalogue fell from the mail. Now it's used twice a year if they're lucky, and the stitching's beginning to fail. This time it's to their oldest daughter, not inclined though to see them at all. She's something high up in that crypto, which explains why she never quite calls. They've no choice but to come to the city. It's not friendly or happy or green, but there's somebody famous from TV in a show that they'll boast that they've seen. On the journey back home to the quiet, the pain's in her voice, hush dear, don't. There's our son, he's another high flyer. I'm sure he'd like a visit. He won't. Do you remember, probably in primary school, you really liked doing something, drawing or painting or making models or whatever, and you got that distinct vibe, probably from a teacher, almost certainly single, that discouraged you from carrying on. And then later in life you get to come back and do it, and you can enjoy it again. So this is from the heart. This is a painful true life story. It's called I Am Not. If you identify with this, we can workshop it later. I am not a painter. A real painter said I ain't. My technique is not so refined, yet all the same I paint. I am not a writer. A real writer told me that. But I put down so many words, they come to me like chat. I am not a dancer. A real dancer mocked my pose, but I move to the rhythm though and feel it in my toes. I am not an artist. A real artist makes real art. It's not for me to self-label, put horse before the cart. I am not a poet. A poet told me so. I do not have a self-published book coming out and my poems rhyme. I am though quite contented because I do not give a jot. I scribble like a man demented, and that, my friends, your lot. Often, I'm asked, oh, was that about me? Especially if there's a vaguest hint of romance in it. And the answer is always no. If my life was the way I write it, I should be in care. However, this was written about a woman I knew who dumped me. It's called Pork Pie Penny, and that's because her name is Pauline. Okay.
Revenge poetry.
Not revenge poetry, artistic treatment. Let me rhyme you about Pork Pie Penny. She's a girl who likes her meat, but insists that these are her salad days and the pastry's just a treat. Some people think that she's quite mad. They say she's way past barking. They're right, she comes from Upminster. Her sense of humour, sparkling. It's not all go for Pork Pie Penny. Sometimes she's soporific. It doesn't matter, she'll wake up and return to being terrific. On just 4 coffees, Pork Pie Penny is everybody's tonic. It must be said, though, that her laughs are snorts, which makes that pork pie quite ironic. In barrel-chested Epping, time will even up the score. Iron celebrating over M11's distant roar. Bellies and Terries, Poundland succession, amitriptyline queen bees, what retail depression? Suits shine in sunshine, aftershave splashes, rednecks and bottlenecks. Who did your lasses? Unleashing the least, up to the basset, don't mind the police, just try not to crash it. The silence is fleeting, as if quiet means no more. Lauren's not home tonight, M11's distant roar. I do not want to die an old man's death. I want to die alive. The only fear I want to feel is the one on the thrill of the ride. Let me die before I fail, even if I don't succeed. Allow me grace and freedom from unpleasantness and need. Do not think of me when I stop. I'm gone and won't come back. There's nothing left and no one here. Once I'm dead, that's the fact. Do it now while I'm alive. Hate me, love me, cry. Kiss my hand, spit in my eye. Fight me, sing to me, tell me your lies. You cannot do that when I've died, so do whatever now. There are no returns or refunds made. Don't say you didn't try. Now, of course, most love affairs are pathetic and tragic and don't work out. So you may identify with this one. We didn't catch fire, I'm sorry. The tinder did not take the spark, no worries. Fast or slow, in the end it's a no-go. Shake my hand, not my world, it's a ciao. I calculate that if you wait, you'll see that in the sea, there's more than a few waiting for you, far more suitable than me. There's nothing missed or lacking, just planets unaligned. Our merits, charms and qualities remain for others yet to find. In our races to the heavens, the thermals were pajamas. Be glad we nipped the rosehead. We've sidestepped endless dramas. It's easy to forget about yourself in a new relationship. This is about that. I have 2 hands, but I need 3. One just for you, one for us two, and one, if I remember, for me, because I forget. Ever since we met, I saw only you, sometimes we two, too. But in the thrall of you and all, I overlooked me, and when it was we, that was all I could see. But you wanted me much more than I did, you see. Anybody got a guilty secret about what they like to eat? How about microwave meals? It's alright, secret safe, you're with friends. You can't eat that! Not one, but 2 women begged. You really are a lucky dog, a male friend said. Hash brown, scrambled eggs, sausage and baked beans. Pop it in the microwave, it's the meal of dreams. The women saw it differently. It's not fit for the drain. You really mustn't eat that. I've been all day breakfast shamed. I met with you this afternoon ostensibly to see how you are doing. How's your life? Are you unhappier than me? I thought that you had much the same in mind. My disappointment with life's cards were what you hoped to find. It's why we fools use socials to satisfy us that, compared to us, it's not so good, and on you, fate has shat. I was let down. You're doing great, and joy filled every word. You wished me well and buoyed me up. It's a wonderful, wonderful world. Now, this one, at odds with what I said earlier on, is actually about, if you live in Broadstairs, you may recognise who this person is. It's a person I've seen for years, and I thought I needed to write something about it. She might not even be 5 feet tall, but if I'm really honest, I'm afraid that is all I know about her. She wears her winter coat all year round, and smiles the way your granny would if she were still around. She always takes the same route home, every day alone. Her shopping bag is not quite full, I don't know how she pays. She does not say a single word. Her secrets stay that way. But if she spoke, I'm sure I'll see she's lived far, far more than me. A little bit of sociology. There are two classes. There is the capital class and there's the rest of us. There is no such thing as the middle class. It's merely working class people who've been convinced that because they make a bit more money or have a leatherette briefcase, they are in some way better. This is called Whatever Happened to the Revolution. In days of old, the wealthy placed their mediocre children in India or Africa to exercise dominion. With empire gone, Odeon too, they're hustled into places like media, arts and rock and roll and pushed out common faces. They'll never embrace labour though. It's far too rough for posh folk who think that they placed one up their arses, that's for sure. In days to come, it's artisans they'll be, because by then AI will have replaced the last consultancies while we sit by the roaring of the sea. I've told this story a few times. It is true, but it's helping me come to terms with the embarrassment. You don't ever get stuff in the mail anymore, not real letters. And so when you get a proper letter that's come in a cardboard envelope, this means something important. So I got this. Oh, this is interesting. Opened it up, and it was this is embarrassing. It was a certificate for my dementia studies course that I'd forgotten taking. This is about dementia, a very real thing. Of all the stuff I have forgotten, some details never escape me. The last to leave, the air I breathe, our senses held in common. The scent of you, of morning dew, and love in laundered cotton. What sun remains through fevered fog, dances through my eyes. I am not gone, just cannot find the lyrics to my song. Please know that you can only guess at what I still retain, and if I rail against the world, it's never you I blame, for at the heart of all I am, I'm pretty much the same. And finally, unless I'm begged for the St. Pancras prayer, any psychotherapists in? No, you never admit it, do they? If you have any experience of psychotherapy, you'll be able to identify with this. You've never known anybody use sat-nav to leave the chapel. That's quite impressive. Okay, there you go. Elvis is leaving the building. We always hurt the ones we love, they're closest to our truth, primed and yet quite unprepared to be the one that soothes. Outcomes are worst in tantrums, rants and moody sulks you just don't understand, and I don't see results. Perhaps secure in all but love, unseen, they make a scene. Achievements count for nothing when you're stuck at age 15. Every day's a Groundhog Day, relief or analgesic, a rictus grin, another gin, your pain's encyclopedic. Does it sound like you? You're halfway there. Please carry on the digging. You'll find a corpse. It's yours, of course. It's only just beginning. Until then, your ghosts will drag their chains around and moan. We're at a breakthrough, you and me. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. My name's Nick Goodall. Thank you very much. You can I publish a poem every 2 days on Facebook, so do look it up if you can't remember my name. thebardofbroadstairs.com. I'm here every day at 3 o'clock throughout Folk Week, and there are other shows coming in due course. So if you enjoyed it, look me up. Or even come back. There are people here today who were here yesterday, and I believe they went home in between. So, to you, extra special thanks. Would you like me to finish with the prayer?
Yay.
I remember reading once some ghastly pop star said, "Oh no, I wish I'd never done that song because it's followed me all through my life." And I go, yeah, but you're making millions out of it, so what are you complaining about? It's the same for me, except the bit about the millions, obviously. Now this poem, you know the words to, you know the rhythm, but you don't know the order I'm going to do it in. So if you're thinking about joining in, please don't. Got to get into character for this when you get bonus acting. Right. Last one, guys, and you can just talk over everybody else. And you're still oblivious, aren't you? Hello. Would you like a new liver? Jesus Christ, if I want to listen to an arsehole, I'll fart. Now. Okay, this is, right, character. This is the St. Pancras prayer. New Thanet Parkway version.
Oh.
Let us begin with thoughts for Ashford and for Canterbury West and for stations on the Dover branch and all the stops in between, especially plucky little Sturry. From Stratford International to travel through Herne Bay, high speed via Faversham be thy name. Thy Rainham come, Strood will be done, in Chatham as it is in Rochester. Give us this day our Sittingbourne, and forgive us our Westgate, as we forgive those who Birchington on sea against us. And lead us not into Ebbsfleet, but deliver us from Margate. For thine is the Bubble, the Chesfield and Swalcliffe, and Gillingham. For Ramsgate, Dumpton, and Broadstairs, Gravesend. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.